Line 208 makes history with one of the most exciting hours ever heard in radio. A few days ago, Tony Prince spoke to John Lennon by phone in Los Angeles. We're about to bring you now the recording of that interview, together with the music from John's new album, Mind Games. You're in for a treat in tonight's Rock Present Roll Pass. Roll on! Rock and roll!
John, we're going to do a 1-hour special on your new album and this interview tonight. I'd like to talk about the album, first of all, Mind Games. We've had to wait a long time for this album, John. Is there any particular reason? What's caused the delay?
Well, it was mainly being hassled by immigration and things, you know?
Yeah?
And I was so busy going to court and going to Washington that before I knew it, a year had passed.
Really? Have you already put down the music, or you didn't have time to go to the studio?
I never really got time to finish it off, you know?
I see.
And then they put me off, you know? I wasn't in the mood.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the tracks, John.
Let's do that.
Okay. First of all, Mind Games, which is the single as well. What's a mind gorilla?
Well, I was thinking of it in terms of, you know, like guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
Only...
Is this expressing getting heavy?
So it's just like, instead of a physical gorilla, a mind gorilla.
Yeah.
A conceptual gorilla.
I see. Okay, John, we'd like to play Mind Games. How do we go about playing it?
Well, I suggest you just put it on the turntable and lay back.
I was reading the game itself, not just the record.
Well,
Is it just another way of saying...
know it or not.
Sorry?
We always claim them, whether we know it or not.
John, is this just another way of saying all you need is love or give things a chance?
I guess it is in a way, you know.
Terrific. I hope you never stop saying it.
Well, so do I.
This is Tony Prince. Towards the end of this show, John Lennon will make a plea to Her Royal Majesty the Queen. And then I will make a plea to you. Stay tuned. We're going to Kite As.
Hey,
Sounds... Hey?
well said.
Right. I made it a Z instead of an S.
Well, no, it's supposed to be a $sign.
Oh, I see. It isn't on the album over here.
Oh, well, that's a nuisance, isn't it?
Okay. This sounds a bit like country rock and roll to me, John.
Yeah, you might call it, it was like that early sun sound, you know?
Right, it was.
Yeah, that's the kind of sound I like.
Yeah, I take it there are no double meanings on this one. I mean, this is the real rock and roll. I mean, what rock and rolling was originally meant to be.
Yeah, you know, just get it on and sing it.
Hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
A track called Tight Ass from the new LP, Mind Games. Tonight in Rock Present Roll Pass from 208, you're hearing Tony Prince speaking with John Lennon. Back to you, Tony.
Okay, can you help me out with the next title, John? Because it's a Japanese word, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Did they not put a translation?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but is it pronounced Azumazen?
No, I see my sen.
I see Masen.
Yeah. It almost sounds like I'm sorry in English.
Yes,
On a bad connection.
yeah. I'll listen to this very closely, John. I'd like to know, and I'm sure all your fans would, why are you saying, sorry, Yoko? Did you hurt her and cause her pain like you say in the lyric?
Of course, you know, anybody that lives together, you're bound to tread each other's toes now and then, right?
Yeah.
So that was just one occasion, and instead of just keeping it to myself, I just made a song out of it.
I see. I hate to say this, John, but one always had the impression that it was all peaches and cream and there was no hassle at all between you and Yoko.
Oh, I don't think there's such a thing as peaches and cream, you know.
No.
You always have to have some savory.
Yeah, well, it always appeared that you got pretty near to it, you know.
Well, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
The Rockabula. This is Radio Luxembourg, and that's what your radio's for. Present Roll Pass. Tony Prince speaking by telephone in Los Angeles with John Lennon.
One day at a time, John.
Well, that about says it all for me.
I'd like to know, what did you do to your voice on this one? Because it sounds like if you listen to the last track we were talking about and you listen to this one, it sounds like two different people singing.
Well, I get bored singing in the same voice all the time, you know?
Did you just...
I'm just singing in falsetto.
Yeah, you did it physically. You didn't do it electronically.
No.
Is the suggestion within one...
Trousers on.
John, is the suggestion on one day at a time, live for today?
Well, I guess that's what it is, you know. I mean, you can only deal with one at a time. no matter what you think, right?
Sure.
So that's what I'm thinking, you know?
What about planning for tomorrow, though?
Well, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on the future or the past, but the future you can plan for, sure, but there's nothing you can do about it until you get there.
Are you living for today?
Oh, sure.
Good. And are you having a good time today, John?
I am, yeah.
Good. We're very happy to hear that.
I'm glad.
Because I'll tell you something, John. You've been well missed over here. I don't know what reports you get over there, but a lot of people miss you and love you. How long is it now since you took up residence in the States?
It's about 2.5 years, I think.
Yeah.
If I had my green card or whatever they call it, I would travel back and forth more, you know?
But you can't do it.
Well, no, I think by the end of this next year, it should be settled one way or the other.
Yeah. John, have you or are you having any cause to miss Great Britain?
Oh, yeah, I often miss it, you know. I mean, I was there a long time. And, you know, they're always putting these old movies on, these old British movies, the Carry On movies.
Yeah, you're joking.
Yeah, you know, they're always on here late night, you know. So I get a little sentimental when I see that kind of stuff.
Will you ever come back, John?
Oh, of course I will, yeah.
Not many people in this world today, John, could know the press more than yourself and understand the press and where it's at. So you're split. Yoko going to New York and you staying in L.A. You're split with Yoko, and the way it's made headline news will probably have been no surprise to you, right?
Well, I know it always sort of gets built up, you know, more than it is. The actual fact is that I'm recording here, she's recording there, and it just sort of happened, you know?
So the world's most famous love affair is not ending, as the press would have people believe.
No. Whichever paper it was writing about it, tell them they got it wrong again.
Okay. Nice to hear that, John. It really is.
Hey, listen, if we split, we'd do it like the bed-in, you know? We'd have a divorce in. I mean, you don't think we'd waste all that? We'd make some use of it.
What about baggism and your enthusiastic drive for peace, John? Does that still happen today?
I think it's still apparent on Mind Games' album.
Yes, it is.
It's still, the message is still there, and the utopian statements on it, and that's the sort of latest mind game we've been playing.
Right. Bring on the Lucy. Free the people. Yeah. Who are you singing this to, John?
Well, it could be anybody, you know, any of those political hacks or leaders that are messing around with our lives.
John, do you think you'll live to see the day when free the people actually lives on this planet?
Well, you know, I'm one of those, when I'm not sort of feeling blue, I'm one of those optimists, you know, and people were dreaming of flying for thousands of years before they flew. But things happen a bit quicker these days, so I want to believe it, and I'm going to believe it.
Yeah. Bring on the Lucy. Who's Lucy? What's Lucy?
Anybody, you know. Sometimes I just come up with a non-sequitur title, you know.
John Lennon off his ULB release, Mind Games, and Bring On the Lucy.
Which coast of America they like the best? For example, Paul Anka, he spent most of his youth and formative years in New York, hates New York today because he says it's such a violent city. Now, I know you spent a lot of time in New York when you first went across with Yoko, but now you're in Los Angeles. Which coast do you like best?
And I still like the East Coast best. I still like New York best. I'm just down here because I'm working with Phil Spector on this album. I'm recording at the moment, and Phil's now the proud owner of 3 children, and for his convenience, it was easier for me to come here than for him to come up to New York. So I enjoy the West Coast, but the East Coast is still my favorite.
Yeah.
They talk about all that violence, but it's just as weird down here, believe me. And they had a poll for the most violent place or the most crimes in America, and it's some small town in California. New York's about 15th on the list.
Really?
Bad image, you know?
Yeah. So you recommend New York?
Yeah, it's like somebody saying, you know, don't go to London from Liverpool because London's more violent than Liverpool. Well, there's more people, you know?
Yeah.
Or Glasgow, but there's still cities, exciting cities, you know?
Yeah, sure. I was going to ask you about Phil, actually, John. Were you together with him again?
Yeah.
Now, I heard you recording a rock and roll album.
Well, it started off as oldies but moldies.
Yeah.
We did about 5 of them, and then we started writing a few, so it'll probably have a bit of everything on it.
Which oldies have you used so far, John? Can you tell us?
Well, I don't want to tell you because somebody will go and do them before I've released it. It's dirty business.
Yeah, sure. Are you pleased with what's come down already?
Oh, so far it's been great. You know, we've been using 20 musicians on every session.
Really?
About 5 electric guitars, 2 drummers, 2 basses, 3 pianos, 5 acoustics.
Sounds like Phil Spector to me, John.
Oh, you're telling me.
We're really looking forward to hearing this one. I am anyway, as a rock and roll enthusiast. The tracks that you put down for rock and roll, can I take it that they were rock and roll things you used to dig when you were in Liverpool?
Yeah, some of them are from way back then. But, you know, some of them are from 50s, some of them from early 60s. It sort of covers everything. The only problem Phil and I have is doing things that are upbeat, you know. We always tend to lay it very slow, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have to watch ourselves. Otherwise we're going to have the slowest album that was ever made.
Yeah. John, you've hit the headlines in the Daily Mirror.
Oh, was that what it was?
They said the Beatles have got back together again, and it's
not another one.
Yeah, they've contrived the Ringo Starr album into the fact that the Beatles have got together.
Well, it's physically impossible at the moment because Paul can't come here and I can't go there.
Yeah. Well, people never give up hope, John, that one day the 4 of you will get together just to see what kind of an explosion you could cause as a reunited unit.
It's always possible, you know, and it would depend on how the 4 of us felt. And first of all, we'd have to physically see each other. It's been a long time since the 4 of us saw each other.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a lot of Ringo and George over the years.
Sure. Did you never think of writing a song with George?
Well, I never, within that long. It's usually, you know, we've sort of passed through each other's sessions or, you know, we meet on the run, as it were.
Yeah. I mean, in the old days, when you and Paul...
I helped, you know, I used to write a little with him on Taxman and things like that, you know.
Sure, yeah. But it's never happened you've got in a studio and you say, hey, George, I've got a song here, and you start it, and George might say, hey, why don't you do that to it here, and things like he used to do with the Beatles, you and Paul.
It's possible, though. It's an idea, you know.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting, especially if George had come on.
We'll be together for, you know, a month or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Usually he's just come into town, or he's in Los Angeles, I'm in New York, and I see him on the way through, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll just...
You're all right.
We'll just keep hoping, man, you know. Great Britain gave the Beatles the MBE in recognition of what they had done for our country. Now, we can do something for the Beatles, something which they would dig, really dig. Stay tuned to this show.
Rock Present Roll Pass. And now we return to this exclusive Rock Present Roll Pass phone entity with Tony Prince and John Lennon from Los Angeles.
Tonight's show, John, will be going out in Europe as well as Britain, because Radio Luxembourg, this particular show that's going out tonight, probably get to 20 to 50 million listeners tonight as we promote it.
Fantastic. Does it go to Germany?
It does indeed. Very much so. Very much so, John. It goes right down France, Spain, it goes up to Holland, Scandinavia.
Oh, fantastic.
Belgium really swamps the whole of Europe.
Well, hello, Europe.
John, there was a photograph of your secretary on the front page. Would you like to clear that up now?
Yeah. Well, you know, we have a couple of people working for us.
Yeah.
Some of them are male and some of them are female.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of females and a couple of males. Now, May happens to know about copyright.
Sure.
And she handles the copyright situation. So I was given May, and Yoko got John and Nadja. May, and I've got Mal Evans, the old Beatle Road manager over here. And so when I'm being seen around, you know, it looks like, you know, I'm going dancing or something.
Yeah, people are putting one and one together in 1898. Or six.
Here was, I was seen around with half a dozen Japanese groupies. Also, I was supposed to be in a gay bar with Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Were you?
I've never met Gilbert. I like him a lot. Met him.
Back to the album.
Yeah.
Out of the Blue. You called Out the Blue or Out of the Blue?
The Blue, yeah.
Out the Blue. Now, is this another love song for Yoko, just simply?
Yeah, it's simple, you know. I mean, if somebody else sang it, it would be for their woman, you know?
Yeah. But of course,
people tend to think, oh, he's just always singing about Yoko, but if somebody else sang it, it would be about their woman. You know?
This is Radio Luxembourg, the Rock of Europe. You're tuned to Rock Present Roll Pass with Tony Prince and John Lennon on your friendly musical giant in the heart of Europe, 208.
In the old days of having a temper, and if someone upset you, it wouldn't take 2 seconds before you'd put one on them before taking any message. Now, well, I don't know whether that was true, but you know how the bands talk, they say things, and John done this in that day and age, and John done that. And in fact, you know, it said in your biography that, you know, you had a temper and you would let one fly if someone really upset you. When you were a youngster, I'm talking about. A teddy boy. Can you remember at what stage the transition into this new peaceful Lennon happened?
Well, I'm not saying I don't get angry anymore, you know.
But you wouldn't let fly.
Somebody in the head.
Yeah.
It's just that I prefer not to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why half these so-called message things, I'm also talking to myself. It's not like I'm some, you know, calm saint sitting on a mountain, you know. I'm just like anybody else.
Right.
It's just what I want is what I'm thinking about. You know, and it's not beyond me to stick one on somebody now, but I prefer not to, you know.
Have you ever done it? Have you had cause to do recently?
No, but I get a bit wild now and then, you know.
Yeah. The next track, John, I Know.
Yeah.
Now, you say in this song that you never could speak your mind.
Right.
That was a thing I always felt you did magnificently.
Yeah, well, it's sort of complicated, but it's like sometimes you say things, but it's not really what you meant to say, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, if I say something to you and then you sort of hear it different from what I've said it, and then you answer back, and we're not really getting down to it. I'm really talking like that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like somebody says, do you want ice cream? And I'll say no, and actually I meant yes.
Right.
And you find yourself saying the opposite of what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that happens to me quite a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Although it's not that the thing is really, I speak a lot, but what I say is not always what I mean.
Yeah. Are you saying that, I mean, this is another love song from Yoko, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's another one.
So when you talk about you never could speak your mind, are you suggesting that you've got your wires crossed with Yoko and this is your way of saying, excuse me, when I've got the wires crossed, you know, I don't really mean it? Huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell.
From the new LP, Mind Games, John Lennon, Rock Present Roll Pass with Tony Prince.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of justice, for the sake of music, stay tuned to this station for 10 more minutes.
Back to you, Tony.
As far as rocking goes, Meat City got to be the best for me on the album.
Good.
Rocking John again. What I would like to know, you make reference that you went to the mountain. Who's the mountain that you're referring to? Is it America, as you seem to say on the song? Or is it Elvis? Or is it Rocking?
Literal, in a way. It's sort of, you know, when we all go through the different trips in our head, we think, well, if I was in the countryside, it would be better. Then when you're in the countryside, you think, well, I missed the city. If I was in the city, that would be better. It's sort of saying I've been all over the place and it's all the same.
Yeah. People are never really satisfied.
Right. The grass is greener.
Yeah.
A track called Meat City off the new John Lennon LP, Mind Games, Rock Present Roll Pass on Tony Prince and John Lennon on 208.
It was cancelled, right?
Yeah.
Would you like to get behind the Iron Curtain to perform?
Yeah, I think I'd enjoy it, you know, simply because I don't see anything. It would be really wild, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know how the Chinese would react, though.
I wonder how you would react to not being able to say too much. You'd probably finish up in prison, John.
I know. Well, anyway, the music says it all, really.
Sure does. Would you go to Russia or China if you were invited?
Oh, yes, I would, yeah.
Like a shot?
Yeah, I'd lay it on them all right.
Yeah.
How long do they give me my green card in America? I'll be an ambassador.
John, what do you think of Ringo's album? You are on the album, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I'm proud that he's doing so well.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
I've asked him to write me a hit song. He seems to know how to do it.
Number one in America, isn't he?
As of this moment, yeah.
Fabulous.
So if he's listening, get it on you, cowgirl.
Actually, John, I was with Paul and Linda the other day.
How are they?
They're very well, working very hard on a movie.
I just heard his latest album, too, and that's good.
Band on the Run.
Yeah, very good album.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I think it's the best he's done.
There's a track on it, Johnny, sounds very much like you. I can't remember which one.
No, it's one of my favorite tracks. I think I'll cover it.
You're a cover version.
Yeah, what's this movie he's doing?
All he would say was that it's the touring, the European tour, and 1 minute the camera is filming Wings doing the thing on stage, and then it turns down to the Wilbur stand and goes to a mouse hole, and then it's cartoon characters who are like complaining about the noise above, and the mouse is on tour with Wings.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Sounds a clever idea, and it's got a lot of editing to do and things, you know?
Hey,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
sounds like Alice in the
John, you said you watched the box over there.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch Prince Dan get married?
I saw the replay, or I saw the single. I didn't watch the album, you know.
I see.
Very late at night.
Yeah, you got the replay.
Pretty good, though.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussions on the television and radio over here, John, about the royal family. Some people think we should dispense with it. Some people think it's a great thing. What are your feelings on the royal family?
Well, my personal feelings is maybe it's that they're a little expensive for the country.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, they don't have it that easy. I know they've got a lot of money in that. I get torn in between it, you know. I think we should sort of have them, but not pay so much, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I actually think that they should, you know, that the whole country should decide. You know, if I was Prime Minister or something, I wouldn't say, well, you can't have them. I think it's up to the people of Britain. If they want them and they want to pay for them, well, then that's their choice.
The guy in the tourist mood over here, the head of the tourist mood, says that they think of themselves in tourist attraction.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, you know.
Yeah.
Talking of Her Majesty, I think it's about time the Queen gave me a pardon.
You want your MBE back?
No, I want a pardon. Without being bust in England, that's the cause of the whole problem here.
That's why you're over there.
So that's just the whole immigration problem.
I see. Okay, well, maybe she's listening, John.
Now, listen, Your Majesty, I think I've done more good for Britain than harm, so you just give me a nice pardon, okay, and then I can travel around again.
Okay, John, well, that's about my questions now. I'm taking too much of your time. You've been great.
It was a pleasure, Tony, and thanks for playing the album, and keep on rocking.
Right on. We look forward to the rock and roll thing on the album.
Okay, I should have it out sometime in the new year, I think.
We'll look forward to that, John. To everyone over here, yes, I can. And that's lots of people who dig music. I want to say a very, very Merry Christmas to you and Yoko and all your family and friends out there. And on behalf of everyone who'd like to see you home again, a great British New Year.
Thank you very much. The same to you and all your listeners. And it was a pleasure talking to you.
God bless you, John.
Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye, Tony. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tony Prince. I believe that there is a terrible injustice taking place with regard to John Lennon. When found guilty of drug possession back in November 1968, his sentence was a fine for pain. But the sentence hasn't stopped at this paying fine in the case of John Lennon. What has actually come to pass is that he continues to pay for this crime in a professionally crippling way. He remains in America, constantly fighting for visas, and is afraid to leave. Perchance the American immigration authorities will not allow him back in their country because of his criminal record. In a recent interview, the one you heard tonight, which I did with John by transatlantic telephone, John Lennon made an appeal to the Queen, asking her to give him a pardon. He said that he had done more good than harm for Great Britain, And anyone who knows about the huge financial door which he and his Beatles colleagues opened with their music would not deny him this statement. Nor I. Lennon is nothing if not honest. His music and interviews lay his heart and mind open for the world to see. And what I and many other people see is a call for peace, love, and understanding. Lennon and various other people of his magnitude were made scapegoats in the huge anti-drug move which was afoot in the day of his arrest. It was a good thing that he was caught. It is good to dissuade people, certainly the young, from living an artificial life. But it is not on the politics of drug use that I make this appeal. It is the belief that Lennon's conviction is having repercussions which are far greater punishment than that court had intended. John Lennon misses Britain, but he can't come home. John Lennon says it is not impossible that the Beatles will get together in the near future, yet whilst he is afraid to leave the USA, and Paul McCartney himself cannot visit the States, there seems small chance of a reunion. Now, this reunion is important to a thing that this generation will be remembered for.